All right. Hey, welcome back to another episode of 92 Breadcrumbs. And I want to start off today by reading a quote. Now, if you give me a second, I'm going to pull up the quote because it kind of lays the groundwork for what we're going to be talking about today. And this is a quote by Napoleon Hill. And it is, every adversity, he says, every failure and every heartbreak carries with it a seed of an equal or greater benefit. And that in itself, you could get that, you should put that on your wall somewhere. I want to put it on my wall because it's just fantastic, because what it shows and what he's telling us is that, you know, failures are not the end. They are a beginning. They are, it's almost like a yin and yang, that there is more to just failure than identifying with it, that there is a grain of positivity in every failure. Sometimes it's a lot harder to find than other times, and sometimes it's really easy and upfront. And the more that we practice, the more that we're able to find those grains of positivity, and even the worst situations. And Lord knows I'm still working on that, because everybody goes through things every day, you know, and so we all have our own things that we're going through. But what the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because it has to do with our video. And today it's going to be on our automatic success mechanism, built into our noggin, that automatically moves us towards a singular goal or target. And really what that goal or target is to live. But for humans to live is very complex. We have spiritual needs, we have emotional needs, we have needs for survival, procreation, things like that. Whereas maybe animals are a lot more simplified, and a lot of their success mechanism revolves around survival. Every time they eat, every time they procreate, anytime they hunt, they survive their environment, things like that. Those are all based around survival and really surviving the environment. And for us, our success mechanism and what it means to live, it encompasses a lot more. Those spiritual needs come into play, those emotional needs, and it has allowed us to do some of the greatest things on earth. I mean, these are the things that allowed, you know, us to create the greatest societies on earth. I apologize for that. Create the greatest societies on earth, and, you know, inventions and things of that sort. But what today we're going to talk about is a very specific part of our success mechanism, referenced in a book called PsychoCybernetics. And our automatic success mechanism, I'll make another video about, you know, deeper into what that is and how it works and things like that. But for this video, we're going to keep it, you know, summed up over there. I'm going to keep it on the side, but just to kind of let you know what that is. But this specific part of our success mechanism, our brain works in two ways, and as far as goal achieving, right? So this is gonna be the first part. This is gonna be the first kind of, the first half, I guess we should say, of our success mechanism. And this part of our success mechanism is geared towards achieving specific types of goals. This isn't really anything creative. This isn't, you know, coming up with ideas or anything like that. This is a very mechanical way that we achieve goals. And the types of goals that this part of our mind steers us towards, like the goals that it wants to achieve, that get filtered to this side of our brain, or this side of our mechanism, is specific targets, like earning X amount of dollars every year, running a 6-minute mile. I mean, even simply picking up a pen off of a table, or you know, anything like that. It's very just specific mechanical things. And the way that it does this is, and the way that it's referenced inside of this book, I highly recommend this book. It's a fantastic book. I'm going to reference it in every video because this book has literally changed my life. It's called PsychoCybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. Thank you, Lord, for doing your work through him, because he really got into the self-image and the concepts that we're talking about here. And so the way that this part of our mechanism works is in a way of and the way he explains it is as a servo mechanism. And when I first heard that, I was like, yo, what the heck is a servo mechanism? Like, I don't know what the hell that, you know, I don't know what that is. I have no history in like mechanical, or I don't even know if that's mechanical or it's like a computer, right? I don't know. So I was like, what is that? And so he explains it, and basically all, and summed up really simply is it serves as an instrument or a device that can measure, right? It's gonna measure the deviation from a set goal or target. So a really great way that I found to explain this is like a thermostat. A thermostat is a great visual representation of how this works, and I'll go over it briefly. So like, let's say you want your house to be, or your car to be at 72 degrees. You set it at 72 degrees, and that's the target. That becomes your thermostat, your servo mechanism's target. But as soon as somebody leaves the door open, or it starts to heat up outside, or it starts to get cold, no matter which way it goes, if it gets too hot or it gets too cold, it's gonna measure the degrees that it moves up or down. So it's just measuring the deviation from the set goal. And when it's on course, when it's 72 degrees in your house, dude, it's chilling. It's like, yo, we are good, like no problem over here. It's taking a sip of coffee, it's chilling, watching TV. But as soon as it measures a deviation from that set goal, as soon as it starts to warm up in the house or it starts to get cold in the house, that servo mechanism is going to activate. And there's other computer things in there that are going to activate your heater and things like that, but inside of there is a servo mechanism. It's really at the heart of the system, and I love this because it's really at the heart of how we go about achieving these types of specific goals and things like that. Because when we set these goals, we create, let's say, we want to lose X amount of pounds, just as an example, right? When we create that type of goal, we create a specific target. We don't just say we just want to lose weight. You usually have and we should, I think, in my opinion, my humble little opinion is that we should have a specific target. We want to lose X amount of pounds, 10 pounds, 5 pounds, or you maybe want to gain weight. It doesn't have to be one way or the other, but let's say, as soon as you set that goal, you set a specific target, and we know what we have to do. We know we have to eat better. We know we have to go get some exercise more, things like that. There is a set plan. It's automatic. You know exactly what you need to know because excuse me, you know exactly what you need to do. And when we are in the same way that the servo mechanism, it's just chilling when it's 72 degrees, right? When we're eating right and we are on our path, this is the goal of losing 10 pounds or gaining 10 pounds, whatever it is. And when we are moving towards that goal, we are taking action that's moving us towards that goal, right? So we're eating right, we're moving a little closer, we're exercising, we don't go out as much, we don't eat any fast food. We're getting closer and closer. We start to see a little bit of dip here and there on the scale and things like that. Maybe it goes a little up and goes a little down. But anyways, we're on our way, right? And as soon as we deviate, right? Let's say it's somebody's birthday, or we go, whatever. Let's say you're just, you're on your way home and you're like, yo, I could really use a double cheeseburger right now. Like, I could just go for one of the McGriddle. Like, who doesn't like a McGriddle? If you don't, call me, we'll have a chat. But you stop, right? You get it and you eat it. Even if you're like, let's say you don't get the big meal, or you do, it doesn't matter. You went and ate, instead of eating the salad or eating like a really healthy, nutrient-dense meal, you went and got fast food. And what happens is, as soon as you do that, you're on your way, right? We're on our way and we're going towards our target, and we deviate. And as soon as we deviate, our automatic mechanism utilizes what's called a corrective device. And this is how he explains it in the book. It utilizes this corrective device. And this is the device inside of the thermostat that measures the deviation from the set goal. All it's doing is like this mechanism moves us towards the goal, and as soon as we deviate, the corrective device activates, and it lets us know like, hey, yo, you just deviated, you're off course. And a lot of the times that comes through as maybe like a bad feeling, or maybe you don't feel so great. You're like, man, I probably shouldn't have done that. Like, You know, if it's a cheat day or whatever, like that's a different story. But like, let's say when you weren't supposed to cheat, let's say you were supposed to go, you know, let's say you stayed out later, you know, you had a couple extra drinks, you know, 1 round turns into 3 rounds, turns into 5 rounds, and you're walking in the door at 4 a.m. like, yo, what happened? I don't even know how I got home. And then you look at your tablet or whatever. But you deviated. And that bad feeling, you know, it can hurt sometimes. And all it's doing all it's doing is letting us know, like, hey, you've deviated. It's time to get back on track. I'm gonna make you feel bad because those are alarms blaring inside of our brain, letting us know, like, hey, like, steer back on course. Like, you're almost like a jet. You're like on course, you get off course, and it just wants to steer you back. And that's what I love about that quote as well, is because, and what it has to do with the quote is because those bad feelings, you know, when you understand what they are, it makes it harder to identify with them and say, instead of saying like, oh, I'm a failure because I went out, excuse me. Instead of saying like, oh, I'm a failure because I went out, you can say like, oh, I failed yesterday. I failed in this instance, okay, I'm gonna get back on course. But instead of identifying like, oh, I am a failure, now you feel bad, you know, you really take it to heart and things like that. And understanding this concept helped me do that. It helped me understand that, like, hey, like, I'm not a failure because of these things. These are just my own brain, and these are just my automatic mechanisms just steering me towards the goals that I've set for it. And I mean, these could be financial goals or anything like that. So, I mean, this is just a beautiful concept, and this is just one of the ways that it does it. And so, yeah, this is really where, like, the opportunity comes into play, because the opportunity, or the, you know, it's in itself. And the problem and the opportunity are two sides of the same coin. And I think putting that in perspective really helps lay the groundwork out for getting away from identifying with like failures and things like that. It's just kind of getting away from that stigma we might feel when we do mess up, because we're gonna mess up. That life is purely a mess up. And understanding this concept made me fall in love, really, with messing up. Like, failures become a really good thing. They become a thing that are necessary when you don't identify with them, and you don't say like, oh man, I'm a failure because of this. Like, you're like, oh, okay, well, what did I do wrong? That's obviously something that, it's obviously stopping me from somewhere I want to go. But it's also important to have places that we want to go. And that's another subject for another video about goal setting and things like that. And I really look forward to making that video as well. But, you know, when we know where we want to go, I mean, your mechanism, and it's so cool because this part of us just does it. It's automatic. It's gonna let us know. That's why we feel bad. That's why we don't feel good about, you know, maybe sleeping in when we wanted to get up at 6 a.m. and go for that run or that walk or things like that. Or maybe if you're in sales or business, maybe you didn't make that phone call and, you know, you wanted to. You knew you want to sell more product. You know you want to earn more. You know you want to, you know, be kind of a risk taker or things like that. But when you don't do the things that move you towards that end goal, end result, you deviate. When you don't make that phone call, you deviate. When you don't go see that person, you deviate. And just understanding that inside of it, it's all kind of working together, and everything really has a purpose to let you know it's not just a life isn't just identifying with failure and that's it. Like, we can do something with it, and that, I think, is absolutely beautiful. And I think you're beautiful, and I want to thank you again for being here. I hope you learned something. If you want to know anything more, want me to go into anything else, please let me know. I'm open to criticism. I love you. Have a great day. This is 92 Breadcrumbs. Out. Bye.